Happy Mardi Gras!
Happy Mardi Gras.
So this is our year in review show for the year 2023.
What a year it was. That
Yeah,
was a great Mardi Gras.
yeah. Altogether, combined, you and I made 51 parades. I mean, not our record, but still, I mean.
I'm getting old. I feel every one of them.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But it was a fun Mardi Gras. We did a lot of things that we didn't do in past Mardi Gras, and considering all the balls and our special appearance we got to do that we were honored with earlier in the year. So
Yeah.
it was a fun Mardi Gras.
Yeah, I mean, let's kind of break down some of these things that, you referenced the big opportunity that we had. So, literally our third parade of the year,
Yeah.
we were honored to be grand marshals for the Mandy Milkshakers, which,
Yep.
I mean,
Oh, we've just come to
Yeah.
love those ladies. I mean, they're a fantastic group. They do so many good things with their community.
but I feel I feel like, and this isn't ass kissing or whatever,
yeah, it is.
but like, it's an honor for us that,
Absolutely.
I mean, just, after hearing all of the stuff that they do throughout the year, and, we see a lot of it from them talking with us and, just seeing their general updates on, Facebook, social media stuff. They're constantly, during the season, they march in, it feels like a billion parades. And, then, throughout the year, they're doing all kinds of stuff to help out the community with, different drives. When we went to their ball, one of the big things was, that still was going was Walk with Jenny.
Mm-hmm.
That one of their own fell into some tragedy, had a bad car accident, and I mean, she's recovering wonderfully. I mean, I saw her in a bunch of the parades. She's not walking fully yet.
She's coming around.
But she's coming around. I mean, she still knows all them dance moves,
They
and
showed her dancing
and-
like in the chair, like in therapy. That was a good part of her therapy was being a milkshaker, really.
Right.
And them all going up there to see her, and it was a good haul.
yeah. I mean,
So, I'm wearing that shirt today.
yeah. Getting to we got to audition. To serve as judges for their auditions.
Yeah.
During the year, we got to go to their ball. We did a lot of things with the milkshakers this year, and it was an absolute blast. And I love those ladies. They're really great. They're a fun group, and again, the stuff that they do in their community is just so applaudable.
Yeah. Yeah, everybody does a tremendous amount of work for their local communities. We see a lot of theirs, I guess, more firsthand.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, they're not shy about getting out there and helping out any way they can, and it just always look like they're having such a good time too.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But riding that parade, getting to toast the mayor. To kick off Mardi Gras in Mandeville officially, that was fantastic.
Yeah, it was so fun. That night you actually got to go to a ball.
Oh yeah, I left there and went to the Phoenix Ball at Mardi Gras World in that I don't know what they call that room, but it looks like a front of a plantation. It feels like you're outside. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And Phoenix is for as small of the parade that is, it was really a beautiful ball. Everybody looked wonderful, and of course, I mean, I was smashing. I looked fantastic. No, but it was nice. I think I danced. That was pretty terrible, but I did it anyway.
Yeah.
No, that was a lot of fun, and I hadn't been in that room yet, so yeah, that was cool.
Well, that same night, while you were at the ball, I ran out to Fools of Misrule.
Yeah, you just had to get one more ahead of me.
And I got to the starting line literally like 45 seconds too late. That they were gone
They're
up the
gone.
street, and I was like, okay, well, their their route is only like 10 blocks.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just sit here for about 10 minutes, and they'll be right back.
That's a poor idea. Yeah.
Yeah, like an hour later, I was like, man, where are they?
Yeah, I didn't realize till you told me that.
Yeah. So then I walked up the street, walked up their route a little bit further, and I found where they were. They were outside of a bar that was about 3/4 of the way through the route, and I figured, okay, they're stopping for a bathroom break, get a drink. Like an hour later, finally.
It was such a short route. It makes it a small group too,
I mean, they were having a good time, but
that's a fun parade though. We'd gone last year, and I really enjoyed it.
So, Hail Fools of Misrule. I definitely did have a good time. Let's see. A couple things that I do want to bring up that before we get into all the jollies of Mardi Gras, there were a few little snags, shall we say?
Yeah.
There was the unfortunate shooting that happened during Bacchus, and obviously it wasn't the crew's fault by any means.
Nah,
it
have
was
a million people packed on a parade. There's going to be one idiot, and
right.
Unfortunately, he showed up that night.
Yeah. Let's see. The other thing, ladders. So, I mean,
ladders.
They've been a problem for several years now.
Yeah.
Like when we were kids, there were ladders out there, but I don't recall them really being at the very front when we were kids. Like they would always be, several feet back.
It was to help you see. It wasn't to like claim a spot.
Right. And over the past several years, it's gotten to be where that is to claim a spot. And people are bringing these super tall ladders and putting them right on the curb.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the ordinance is supposed to be that the ladder is supposed to be as far back as it is tall. Because in theory, if a kid's sitting in the the little chair thing on the top of the ladder, that you want to have some distance that they don't land and fall right underneath a float or
right, and
or
frankly,
fall onto.
There's no purpose of having a ladder in the front row. You're already in the front row.
Right.
I don't get it. I've never been a fan of them. I mean, I understand they have their place. I don't hate anybody for having them, but just do us all a favor and scoot them back a little bit.
Yeah. Well, the other thing that I saw this year was there was what looked like these. The only way I can describe them is they look like painter's easels. It was
the big wooden things?
Yeah, they were like made out of like 4x4s, making like a tripod.
Yeah, they were good.
And
I mean, they had to be 4 or 5 feet across.
Yeah, and they basically had a sheet of plywood on the front with a lip, so that you could stand on the lip and lean against the piece of plywood. And they were also set up, basically chained together.
Yeah, that was. I remember before Bacchus. Well, when we had gotten there that morning, Grant looked down the block like, "Man, what is that?" And I went and walked down there. I was like, "You got to be kidding!" I mean, it was 30 feet long of them.
Yeah,
and I was just like, "What?" And
so
I was kind of curious how many actually took up that space, because that was enough room for hundreds of people.
Right.
And it was probably a dozen or two. But I'm glad they waited a year, because had they done that last year with the condensed routes, it really would have been a mess.
Yeah.
Because last year the crowds just seemed unbelievably thick, just no matter where you went.
Yeah. Well, like you said, with the condensed routes, all those people that usually stand along, Magazine Street and, on the various extra turns on, a lot of them last year when they hit Canal Street, they basically just went and turned directly onto Canal Street.
Yeah.
They didn't do the whole loop like the U-turn like they usually do.
Yeah, I mean, you got to figure you lost several parades lost more than a mile. So it was
Yeah.
like, in a 5 mile parade, you lost 20%. That's significant. And you felt it. You really felt the crowd swell no matter where you went.
Yeah.
This year seemed much more reasonable, where you kind of walk up, get a decent spot, and
Yeah.
cool.
So that was one of the things that we are thankful for is that the
Expanded
I guess the
routes.
city was able to make deals with the crews and acquire some extra staffing for police and EMS and fire support.
Well, I think they, you know, it was different this year because they hadn't done that in a long time. But that was always the norm when we were kids. It would always be lots of state troopers and JPs and West Bank police and all would come over, to kind of help. But that was how they were able to expand the routes with the shortages they have right now. So
Yeah.
glad to see it.
Let's see. One of the other complaints that I do have is there was a couple of parades that I recall having delayed breakdowns.
Yeah.
Like I remember on
Tux especially had a
on
bunch of them.
Tux
I don't
and
know
Iris
if it was Tux or Iris or both combination. And they're both really long parades, so who knows?
Yeah.
But there were a couple long breaks in that day.
Yeah. And I remember, I was worried for the crews that, because where we were standing, which was kind of close to the interstate, we were probably about 5 or 6 blocks off of the interstate.
Yeah, that's about mid route.
And we went to, it was 4:30 basically when the parades finished rolling by us, and I know that Endymion had been rolling for like 45 minutes to an hour at that point.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of police shortages, that becomes an issue because a lot of them are scheduled to be on the Endymion route that day. So
Right, yeah, they'll start off in the morning for like 2 or 3 hours at the beginning of the uptown route, and then they'll shift to the back end of the Endymion route or the middle, And I heard that in some spots when it basically got to be Endymion time, you saw like, which it's usually the safer areas. Well, I'll say that. That
kind of more family.
Yeah,
coming out of their houses.
it's not the areas where you'll typically hear of, fights and
much
shootings and things like
that. Yeah, beginning route.
Yeah, but I'd heard that a good bit of the police
redeployed
at that point.
Yeah, I mean, it was probably, we all know of the shortage, so it was probably they were splitting their time, and it's probably not unusual, but the delays made it that way, which left a lot of it unguarded, besides people on the route.
There was a couple of crews that I was a little bit disappointed with. Obviously, one of them, the name doesn't even need to be spoken. It was sad to see them rolling. They had pretty floats, but most of their floats were a good bit empty.
Well, I mean, we all know the reasoning behind that.
Yeah, I mean, we know the reasoning behind it.
As a parade fan, I hate politics and parades, but that was a great parade, and it's sad to see it fall apart like that. So
yeah.
Personally, I hope it can come back at some point. Maybe it needs different leadership. I don't know. It's not my place to say.
Yeah, same here.
But that's obviously what's going on with membership. So
yeah.
But it was a great parade. To see it fall apart like that is really kind of like, oh man,
Yeah.
because that was really at the kickoff,
Yeah.
and of what you would call deep gras or whatever you want to say.
Yeah. Another parade that, and I don't mean to talk poorly about them. Um, I was kind of less inspired this year, shall we say, by Mid City. It seemed like
Yeah,
I don't know if I know that their captain just took over maybe last year
yes.
to start off this year.
I can't
So
recall what it was. Somebody told me something had happened, and really they just didn't get to decorate all their floats again like they typically do. And I don't remember what it was. It might have been just new leadership and
Yeah,
getting
working
everything
out.
back together.
Yeah, getting everything together, working out contracts and
Yeah,
so on and so forth.
it happens.
But I mean, there's usually such a beautiful parade,
Mhm.
and I have full faith that that next year they're gonna come out the gates fully swinging.
Yeah, it might have just been the case that they got rained on because the way those floats are decorated, a rain would really mess them up. Just the foil just doesn't shine like typically and that kind of thing. So I don't know the cause, but yeah, you're right. It was noticeably different this year.
Yeah. I mean the um the head prop, the front prop on the floats looked very beautiful, but it didn't seem like there was as many flowers on there. Like that's the thing that I really associate with the foil is like the huge flowers of all the different colors of foil.
They had the last
that
of
they
the
do.
foils left. I mean, because they had
Yeah.
3 or 4 of them at one point, and
Yeah, the only
that's
two
the only
places.
one I recall.
Yeah, the only two places where you'll see foil is either in Mid City or on the side of a truck float.
Yeah. Well,
You
I
know?
want to say Toth used to do it quite a bit,
Yeah,
but they had gotten away from it. But there was another one I don't recall. Maybe Pandora back
but
in the day used to be foiled.
yeah.
There was a few of them.
But I do love, I love Mid City.
Mm-hmm.
We always have a good time at the parade.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think the members are great. They're
Yeah,
it's fun for the balloon collectors. They always have a good collection.
yeah,
You know, membership's great. Yeah, I mean, who knows what happens to the place? And like I say, that was right at the point where I was kind of starting to get ready. I had to make my trip. So,
oh yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So one of the other things that you did outside of the parade was you got an opportunity to go to the Bacchus.
Extravaganza bash.
No, the Bacchus Spectacular.
There we go.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, yeah, geez, I mean, that's an appropriate word for it because, I mean, you understand these things are grand, right? I mean,
Yeah.
you have a parade like Bacchus roll through a building. Essentially, it surrounds you. There's bands playing all around. I mean, it's spectacular. There's no
Yeah.
other way to say it. I mean, it's almost sensory overload going on,
Yeah.
and to calm down it, after the Beach Boys kick off and they just start jamming. But that was a long day. Unfortunately, I was toast by the time the Beach Boys come on. I mean, I'd started that day at 5 in the morning.
Right. Yeah.
So, I was toast by the time they come on, but I stuck around for a song or two and then just kind of made my way. But to see that come into the convention center like that, which I've seen film, but it just doesn't really do it. When you see those huge floats just going to town, and I think they purposely save a lot of lighted beads to throw there.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So,
well,
like-
just like when uh, Family Gras was at the end of the parade route
Yeah,
for us.
exactly.
We saved light up throws and
Yeah,
crew and blazing stuff so that when you get off the float and you go into Family Gras to watch the headline act, everybody surrounding you is playing, got light up blinky lights and blinky hats and
Oh yeah,
scrunchies and
they weren't two floats
wands
and the
yeah.
whole convention center was blinking.
Yeah.
And I mean, blinking hard. So, I mean, it was a wild show. I'm gonna have to get back and see that again. And got to
Yeah.
run into our friend Clark there and said hi to him, and he's smiling from ear to ear, as you would imagine.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. Let's see. One other ball that we attended this year is we went to our own crew ball.
Yep. I'd never been to our ball.
Yeah.
I've said it before. I'm not much of a traditional ball guy, but it was a beautiful ball.
Yeah, it's a beautiful.
Missy's costuming is just spectacular. You know, as much as traditional balls aren't my thing, I really enjoyed myself, and I thought it was absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah. The one thing that I would change with the ball, and it's not even the cruise thing, it's my thing, is this year I wore. It was literally like my second time wearing new contact lenses.
Oh,
And something happened with the contact that it just had my eye like purple.
oh yeah, you're Popeye.
Yeah,
For a
and at
minute.
some point I literally left, drove home like a pirate, one-eyed, and ripped the damn things out and came back with my glasses, like. But it took like 45 minutes out of the time that I would have liked to be enjoying the ball,
Yeah,
I mean,
I could tell you were miserable. You stuck around through the, well, I don't know what you call that, the procession or whatever
Yeah.
for it, but I could tell it was bothering you. You couldn't find it.
yeah. So,
I went to one other ball. I went to the Tux ball.
oh, that's right. Yeah, yeah.
That's a costume ball, and
Yes.
so I was a batch of grapes. I looked very juicy, and yeah, no, that's a fun ball. That is a really fun crew, and I think as much fun as it was when in the car come marching through and just started playing. They had a little small parade.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
That is spectacular to see. I mean, because they don't miss a beat. I mean, they're walking in a group, maybe 4x4 or something like that, in a 4 side by side. They can't even carry their banner sideways. They carry it kind of on their shoulder like this. And the
Yeah,
drum
kind of
mate-
cockeyed.
And the guys are still dancing with it, man. You could tell they prepped for that, thing. And it's just cool to hear a full band like that in the ballroom,
Yeah.
just going to town. And that was a really fun ball.
That was one of the things that I noticed this year. That, do I acknowledge that bands have been in parades for millions of years? Yes. Yes, I do. Yes, I'm fully aware that bands have been in there. But, like, I don't know, and I've always appreciated and enjoyed the music.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, this year, it seemed like there was a couple times where it really hit me to where I was like, damn, this band is on fire today,
Well, same band. I believe it was Carr.
Yeah,
And
Carr was
when we went to the Culinary Queens.
Yeah.
And they spread the entire width of what were we on?
Ames.
Yeah, and it was like, I don't know, 20 dudes wide or something like that.
Yeah.
And it came at you like a wall of sound. I mean, it was spectacular. And I, like, honestly stopped and just was like, damn, I'd never heard a band play like that, because it was almost what you would call a concert formation, not a marching band formation. You
Right.
really got to hear them right, and it sounded spectacular.
Yeah, there was several bands that I noticed it, that every time that they came past, like if you wasn't dancing or tapping your feet or, even just like bobbing your head with the music,
Yeah.
you weren't at the parade.
Yeah,
Straight up,
There was
I mean,
one band, and they marched in Rex as well, but they were a high school band. I couldn't figure out where they were from. It just had a G on there. It was like Greenville, Greenlee, or something like that. I wanted to, tell the guy how much I enjoyed him, and that was the band that there was like a breakdown for. I want to say it was in Orpheus.
Oh,
and
yeah,
they
yeah.
had like faced the crowd and started
Yeah,
going. Oh,
yes.
that was really cool, man. I'd never really seen the band do that. That was an out of town high school.
Oh,
They
yeah.
sounded great, and they marched in Rex, and so I don't know how many parades they ended up marching in, but yeah, that was fun to see. That band director really was, having as much
Yeah.
fun as the members were. They were really having fun.
Yeah, a couple other ones that I noticed, and this isn't to slight any of the bands, so band
Hmm.
directors who are listening, no,
Yeah, he's really saying step it up.
no, 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 no. Like St. Aug seemed to be really on fire this year. Like there
Yeah,
was, we had
absolutely.
talked about it kind of offline in the past that it seemed like there was a few years, and again,
They got a little
God bless.
smaller. It
Yeah,
might have
they
just
gotten a little
been
bit.
the numbers were smaller or something,
Yeah,
but yeah.
but St. Aug was on this year.
Oh yeah, they were back.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, and they were always good, but they kind of lost their 2 block long
right, right. Yeah,
procession.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know what I mean? It was like, because at one point St. Aug was just massive, and they had lost some numbers, and maybe can't quite travel with that full entourage every time.
Yeah,
But yeah, the times we saw them this year, yeah, they were really on.
yeah. Walker,
Always good.
always
Yeah.
one of my favorites. McDonough 35 was, there was a couple times
Yeah.
I remember seeing them, and it's like, whoa, look at
Hmm.
them.
Yeah, them too. I wouldn't say that their numbers had ever dropped off, but I feel like this was the largest I had seen them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fountain Blue,
Hmm.
a lot of the bands that we've mentioned, previously here so far, are, more like that New Orleans soul, that New
Yeah.
Orleans street band.
Yeah.
And, on the same note, there's, like more concert-esque bands, like you were saying
Yeah.
with Greenville.
Sure.
Fountain Blue is one of them that, you would have thought that you were listening to, John Williams leading orchestra. You know what I mean?
They're
Like,
very technically sound.
yeah,
They're very good musicians, and they're not playing at the volume, yeah, as the other bands are. It's just a different style,
yeah,
really. I like
um,
them both.
right, right,
Uh, yeah, but they're a very technically sound band, and they really just put on a good show. I mean, it's clear that they practice endlessly, and
yeah.
really
Uh,
take pride in it.
Jesuit's another one that's like that, to where
Hmm.
they're, it's like listening to a record.
My surprise of the year, and I don't remember them being a large band at all. But Bonnable this year was
Yeah,
fantastic.
Bonnable was fantastic. I
Hmm.
really enjoyed seeing them. I saw them in, it seemed like 5 or 6 different
Yeah,
parades.
I think the last one we saw was ISIS.
Yeah,
I think was the last time I saw them. But yeah, I mean, I don't recall them ever being that large.
yeah, yeah. It seemed like they had the full um, magnitude of a band. Like when I say a band, that includes, like the dance team,
Hmm.
the pep squad,
Yeah,
the baton and flag teams, and they had the whole gamut with them.
like I'd never been in a marching band, but I've heard this a few times, and it's every time I see it, it's because the band is fantastic, and somebody in the crowd, reached to, hey, where you guys from? And to me, that's an ultimate compliment of a band because for years, that's how you decided what school you went to. Like,
Right,
you know
right,
what I mean?
yeah,
So like that's a great compliment. So when you start hearing that for Bonneville, which isn't, I mean, it's a New Orleans esque band school, but it's not a New Orleans school.
yeah.
But yeah, they were a lot of fun this year.
Another marching group that I guess you could say shocked the city.
We might have shocked them
Yeah,
more.
well, yeah, the Dancing Grannies.
How fun was that?
Yeah, to see them. Well, they marched like the day before
Hmm.
in, I think, Iris,
Yeah, they
with
just
the Stompers.
they just kind of followed that second squad
Right.
in the back. I want to say they had their banner, but they were just kind of walking with them.
Yeah, I think they were just
Kind of.
soaking it in to realize, like, this is what we're going to be marching in front of.
We're gonna do these crazy people.
Right. I mean, it. I mean, it's shocking to me. Like, when we ride, and you see the crowds out, just out here in Jefferson, and I understand that the crowds are a lot thicker usually in New Orleans, and I'd have to imagine that the crowds of a New Orleans parade versus Milwaukee 4th of July parade are miles of difference. You know what I mean?
I mean, not only in size, but like atmosphere.
Yeah.
It just can't even be close. And I'd seen a couple of videos of them when they had made their final turn and kind of settled in and kind of just let it all soak in. And I don't want to even describe it, but those ladies look like they needed that. I think the Stompers really did them a solid, and they have friends for life now.
Oh yeah. Well, I'd heard rumor even that I think that they were waving the Stompers to come up for one of their parades that they do. Like
they're kind of petitioning them to get up there.
Yeah. So to see that.
I hope they come back.
Yeah, that brother, shall we call it the brotherhood, the sisterhood,
sure.
the family created with those two groups.
Well, I've been following it for a few years, and I saw the little parades they typically did, and but it just always seemed like a fun group of ladies. But when they were invited down, and you could see this anticipation building. They weren't even saying a number of days. They were like one sleep away, and we're getting on the plane.
Right?
Like they were never gonna sleep again. And then my dad gives them a sign and gets like. They post it.
Yeah, they post it and get like millions of likes on it. Yeah. Let's see. We had mentioned a couple of the crews that we were a little bit disappointed with, but there's a lot of crews also that, wowed us this year. Mm-hmm. I mean, as always, Poseidon. The fact that they started off their parade with a big 4th of July fireworks display. That was so awesome.
Well, I think Ronnie is a great captain. He really wants to do everything he can to promote that parade and make it bigger and better and do something different every year.
Yeah, and they're...
I love how he grabbed us, like, come on, come see.
He
didn't even tell anybody.
Right.
He's like, I'm just going to have a giant fireworks display to start the parade. I'm like, okay, let's go.
And he had like the TNT box, like you'd see Yosemite Sam using, on the cartoons, set up in the middle of, the corner of Spartan and Pontchartrain there, and he just walked out there with his, like his riding lieutenants or whatever, and boom.
I don't know, there was a lady behind me, and I didn't want to ruin the surprise, and there was like a confetti cannon right behind them. And she's like, look, she was telling the kid, look, he's going to push the thing and confetti's going to shoot out. And I'm like, just you
if
wait.
Only. Yeah, if only.
No, that was fun. And like I say, I think he's done a tremendous job with that crew. I mean, every dance squad around there loves being in that parade. He brings in a lot of them.
Yeah, he brings in... Yeah,
you wouldn't suspect would go do the slide all parades. He brings in quite a few. I think they just love it, and they bring out a big crowd.
And every year their numbers grow. Like he called me a couple weeks before their parade, and he was like, "Hey, happy Mardi Gras." I was calling to let y'all know this year we've got. He was like almost 900 members. 20-something floats. He named off whatever the number of floats it was, and he, spit off a couple of the, the highlight marching groups that he had in the parade. And he's like, "I hope I get to see you guys out there. Where are you guys going to be?" He was like, "I know y'all want the balloons. I've got a set of the balloons ready just for you." And he also mentioned some of the throws that they were going to be throwing. Like, it was almost like he had this, 2-minute spiel that he just was like, bow, 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 bow. And I was like, man, I love this guy. You know.
I mean, yeah. So they're fantastic.
Yeah.
And really, I love it that Slidell has really taken that first weekend and just said, "Hey, we're the first week of Mardi Gras."
Yeah.
And really, it is that full weekend.
Yeah, Titans was a beautiful parade. You know, and then Poseidon, Bilge was that morning,
Yeah.
and then Athenians.
Mm-hmm.
You know that all three of them were super top notch. You know, and then we even went back to Slidell further into Mardi Gras this year. Usually,
Yeah, that was
you
an
know,
unusual one.
yeah,
For
usually we'll admit that when Mardi Gras starts, we're stuck in the city, shall we say,
us. Yeah,
because
uptown. Yeah.
you know, in between Uptown and Metairie, our dance card is usually pretty full.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, we had the opportunity to interview again with our friends in Saline, and we went and saw them.
We had to go. I
Yeah.
mean, come on. They were so much fun here.
Yeah.
I had to see that parade because I knew it was going to be fun.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
surely we're not disappointed.
Right, yeah. We were at the very front of the route, and we remembered in the interview that they talked about one of their riders that has hubcaps, and we got hubcapped. Like I saw him hanging on the float, and I was like,
The
this has got to be the lady that does the hubcaps.
I didn't realize there were actual hubcaps.
Right, yeah. I thought that it was like, you know, when they said hubcaps, I thought that like, initially I kind of thought that she was joking, you know, that, you know, like I
This
figured.
might fit my car.
Yeah.
I gotta try it.
So yeah, we got hubcapped at the parade. We caught a couple shirts at various parades. We caught shirts from them. You know, I've heard that Dionysus is a real pretty parade.
Yeah. We need to get that there and see that one.
Yeah, that's one of them that, you know, we need to break from our you know, typically scheduled programming to go and see.
Well, you know, when you get into the meat of it, there's so many of them out here at that point. You know, it is a breakaway, but you know,
Yeah.
as per usual, we want to see everything. So
Right. Let's see. Some of the other parades that were real pretty this year, Babylon. I mean,
absolutely.
like, I don't know how it feels to me, you know, and again, this isn't a slight towards the crew. It seemed like in the past the past several years that, you know, Babylon was, to lack of better words, like that traditional, just a standard as can be tall float. You know, like the catch with them was the fact that they had those big tall floats. And and they've got a handful. They've got a handful of signature floats, but like the regular crew member floats, shall we say, something about them just had never.
Well, you know, it was the standard for, well, except for the height. It was kind of the standard for the old line. We care more about the ball than parade crews. And Royal Artists took them over last year. And this year, you know, I guess they were to the point where they could really roll out the big to do, and it was really beautiful. I'd never seen it look that good.
Yeah. I don't remember them ever looking as spectacular as they did this year. You know, that like, you know, the fact that it's the first one that we're mentioning the extreme beauty of.
Yeah. Well, there's a few of them that you know are going to be beautiful.
Right.
Like that one was clearly the surprise beauty to me.
Yeah.
I was like, damn. I mean, I think we both looked at each other mid parade and were like, I don't remember it ever being this
right.
nice.
Yeah.
Like I was kind of, you know, wondering if I just hadn't noticed, but you know, we both noticed it, I think, pretty quickly.
Yeah. Bacchus. I mean, Bacchus is always a beautiful parade, but I don't know if it was because all of the topics of the floats
It was a great.
were
It was a theme that they could have so much
yeah.
fun with.
But I don't know if it was that just the fact that we were so familiar with all of the icons that were on the floats that it made it that much more beautiful,
Plus,
But
meeting with Clark is fun. You go into their
yeah,
open house, you know,
yeah, but it was
things like that just kind of prep you for the parade.
yeah, but it was a super beautiful parade this
Mm-hmm.
year. Let's see, Isis was real pretty this year.
Yep.
Iris. You know, this year, while I was trying to catch throws and all, I was sitting back and paying particular attention to, the beauty of, you know, some of the signature floats that they have.
Yeah.
The and even just the theme floats, shall we say? That all of the headpiece, the front props on them were really elaborate, pretty pieces.
Yeah.
Well done. That it didn't just look like a piece of a piece of plywood that they slap some paint onto. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
well, I mean, all those parade floats they swap out on a regular basis with their
Yeah.
props and all that to go with their themes. A lot of their floats now are built for that little. I don't want to call them a subcrew necessarily, but I know with the size of that parade, they really give the float captain a lot of kind of reign, and they do a lot to prep their floats. And
Yeah.
I don't know if they have anything to do with their designs, but I think they're kind of more fixed than most parades do, where they swap them out a lot. So
Right.
so like it really kind of flows throughout the float rather than this picture with various flowers everywhere, or
Right.
what have you.
Let's see. Tux was a real pretty one again this year. Um,
It's hard to say Tux is a pretty parade, but
Well,
it is.
it is, yeah.
It is. I mean, it's different.
yeah, I mean it's
Tux.
different, but
But they do a nice job of it. It's as slapstick as they are. They know how to make fun of themselves, and they do it right.
yeah. Um,
I like the bobblehead.
yeah. They had some funny throws this year. Like one of the things that sticks out in my mind is they had air fresheners that they were throwing, and I don't recall ever catching an air freshener like the trees that you would have hanging in your car. And it's got the fat fryer on it, and at one point during the parade, I'd gotten up to go use the bathroom, and while I'm waiting in line at the latrine, right in front of me is this mom and her son, and they're looking at the air freshener, and he says what I'm thinking in my mind. Do you think it smells like poop?
I mean, because Tux can play a couple practical jokes.
Yeah.
That would have been the ultimate, man.
Yeah, to open it and it smells like the inside of like a parade latrine.
No, I think everybody must have had that same thought. 'Cause I got home and I opened it outside.
Yeah.
Like, oh no, it actually smells kind of pleasant.
Yeah. The lady had ended up opening it, and her son smelled it, and she was like, "No, it smells like flowers," But I started laughing hysterically, and I even told several friends of ours that we have that all ride in Tux that same thought, and they all started laughing, and they said, I wouldn't have put it past Tux for it to be that.
No, nobody would. I think
Right.
that's why it was. Everybody must have looked like it. And went,
Yeah.
oh no, you're not getting me.
Let's see. A couple other marching groups that I wanted to make sure that I mentioned. Let's see. Well, the Pussyfooters.
Oh, yeah.
We went to the
went to their blush ball. Yeah,
we went to the blush ball. Again, great group of ladies that we had a blast at the ball.
Yeah. That's a great ball. I mean that.
Yeah.
That is probably, outside of the big cruise, probably the best attended ball there is. I
Yeah,
mean, that thing it's a huge ball. It's a big to do. Everybody gets dressed up and powdered up and everything. It goes. It's a fun ball.
and to see, I mean, again, they were able to donate. I think it was $50,000.
Yeah, I don't know what the
To
final
the
number is, but the
yeah,
last couple of years have been in the 50,000 range. Oh, and I got yelled at. I'm supposed to make a correction. My sister is the group that she works for is the benefactor of the Pussyfooters uh, charity,
yeah,
and she's the CFO, not their attorney any longer. Wasn't supposed to call her an attorney, whatever. But so it used to be the Metropolitan Battered Women's Shelter. It's now the Metropolitan Family Center or something like that. And it's really it's transitioned from just women to full families, whoever needs help.
yeah,
So yeah, and what they do for them, it really helps out. And
yeah,
like I mentioned to them, I hadn't been over there in a long time, but I've seen the families that affects.
yeah,
And putting the roof over their head is a wonderful thing. So a party with a purpose, but a really fantastic party.
yeah. Another group that really popped to me this year, and they've always got a special place for me. Rue La La.
Ooh la la.
At one point during the Tux breakdown, they were broke down basically right in front of us.
Mm-hmm.
So we got to hang out and catch up with, all of our friends over there. Amber's been a longtime friend of mine, so to actually get to talk to her and it not just be like, "Hey, okay, I'll see you at the next parade,"
The drive by.
Right, right.
That we got lucky a couple times with that with the floors.
Yeah,
And
the floors.
The floors. Yeah, I always say floors. That's all kinds of wrong. But yeah, it's I have a prominent, awesome piece of art on my refrigerator now.
Yeah, yeah. They gave us their decorated, or their flowers.
Yeah.
To where they use from
With
what
that-
from what it looks like and from what I recall them saying, it's literally scrap pieces from when they make this year's flower.
Yeah, it's like the remnants from their crafting.
Yeah,
But yeah, I mean they're fantastic little. Like, ooh, that's real nice.
Yeah.
And click. So that's a permanent piece of my refrigerator now.
Let's see. The dames this year. The
Celebrating
while
all the various parades.
yeah,
That's a
like
great
while I always it's like, do I know what a tiger? Do I know what a giraffe? All the different animals that they did. Because I think last year was they all asked for you. Like maybe the year before or something like that was the different bands from New Orleans, and they had
Yeah.
one where it was the
like
streets.
icons or whatever.
But to see how they did the cruise justice, wow. I mean,
They really went all out with headpieces and all this year, which some of them did previously, but it seemed like a lot of them really did
yeah.
very, very big this year.
My only complaint with them is that they weren't in front of me long enough for me to really get to soak in all of their
Well, we got to take a
design.
picture
But
of
we got to
them.
get
Yeah.
there was one of the spots where they stopped in front of us for like a minute literally, and we got to say hi to Julie and Christine, and but I'd love to be able to see all of the the corsets that they did, because I know that those ladies worked so hard on them.
Yeah.
And
I think
like
half
we
the
saw when
trouble-
they came on the show, each one of them is literally a piece of art. I mean,
absolutely. So I went to that. There's a little museum out in the Maroney. They had one of Julie's pieces there.
oh
And
yeah,
I got to kind of real look at it. And it was real nice. I mean, the ones they brought here were real nice too. This one, I think it was a larger, maybe newer one. So she had smaller beaded it and all that stuff. And it was really spectacular. But it was Julie's, and I was like, ooh, they took a picture of it and sent it to her. She's like, yeah, I've seen it.
yeah. But yeah, they were so beautiful this year.
But
And
that's another one. That's to where a proper or a fun theme really helps because
yeah,
every one of them did something. I guess that was in their personality. So you saw the ones that were
yeah, all of them,
Chewbacca's,
right?
and and
Yeah, they each picked a parade that meant something to them.
mm,
Like Julie had Minerva, which rolled right by her house where she grew up.
okay,
Another girl had Tux because she had a special meaning behind Tux.
yeah,
That it was that was her family gathering day or
mm-hmm.
whatever. And to see how they each gave a salute to it. It's really cool. If you go look at their Instagram and Facebook, you can see some of the corsets that they've been able to capture and share with the world. But
Mm-hmm.
wow,
Yeah, it'd be really spectacular if somehow they could do I don't know, art opening,
yeah, like an
whatever
art
you want to.
gallery or something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
where you could just kind of walk through that, that year's
yeah,
corsets or something. I don't know.
yeah,
Be cool because, like you say, I mean, you really can't appreciate them going by so quickly. You
yeah.
know how much work they did on them. Speaking of which, I don't know if I ever told you. Walking back from Rex with my dad before we had come out here,
Hmm.
I ran into some Indians, and
Oh,
I got a bunch of pictures of them. I don't know if I ever told you that, but it was kind of cool. I hadn't seen any of the Indians in quite a long time, and it just kind of happened to run into them on their way right before they were making their march.
nice.
That was pretty cool.
Hmm.
So,
Let's
51. No, it's
yeah,
uncountable.
let's see. Looking here at my notes of some of the other ones. The renewable throws.
Yeah,
You
we
know,
we participated a lot in that one this year. That was I don't feel like any of it goes to waste. I feel much better throwing that, and people enjoy getting that so much more than a pair of beads. I
yeah,
don't even throw beads anymore. Like this year, I threw the glass, and that was kind of it.
yeah. Throwing. I was throwing popcorn and the coffee
Mm-hmm.
bags, and yeah, people really dug them. And I caught a couple. I caught several things from Iris. I got
Yeah.
one or two of the red bean bags from Iris.
Have you made any of them?
No, not yet.
I saw somebody make one. They said they were good. I was just kind of curious.
Yeah,
They were like, "Oh, it was easy," and I don't know what it is. If all the seasonings in them or something, they're like, "Yeah, we just boiled it. It was done. It was good." And I'm like,
yeah.
"Oh, hey, all right."
I'm seeing across the room here. I've got it's a plant,
Mm-hmm. The
like in a
little
box.
iris
Yeah, it's a little iris. Not a bud, but
might be a
it's like
bulb, maybe.
yeah, it's a bulb.
Ah,
It's where all you got to do is plant. I basically plant the box, and it'll grow.
yeah, it should come back every year.
So yeah, the renewable throws. I really like seeing that movement. That it was.
I still feel dumb about my little bags.
Oh yeah, yeah. So Kirk ordered bags, and instead of it being um the correct size bags,
Yeah, they came in like
like
that big.
yeah, like he was supposed to be ordering bags that are a little bit smaller than like a Crown Royal bag.
Yeah, more or
The
less. Yeah.
standard Crown Royal bag. And instead he got bags that are like literally like big enough to hold like 5 pieces of candy in.
That's about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the officers on the route really enjoyed it
Yeah.
because every time I saw one, I chucked them a bag of candy, and they're like, "All right."
Let's see. The the decorated the hand decorated throws. We got several cool hand decorated throws this year.
Oh yeah. Starting off with the. Oh man, hang on. I'm losing audio here. There we go.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. Yeah, the King Arthur Grail.
Yeah, I got one or two grails this year.
Mhm.
I
Yeah,
got these beautiful iris decorated sunglasses this year. Got my Muse's shoe during our interview with Kathy in Virginia. Yeah.
mhm.
Uh-huh.
Couple of
Yeah, a
Amigos
couple of the
records.
Amigos 45s.
Those are real nice. Yep, you always get those. I'm gonna get me one day. I've gotten some before.
Yeah, that
This
one.
this is from the Amigos as well.
Yeah,
That's pretty cool.
the little smiley face guy. And then besides Amigos records,
The crown
yeah,
jewel of.
we got one from the Bejerettes.
Yeah, that's really awesome. That is a fun group. They look like they're just having a blast going
Yeah.
down the street.
Man, there was one of the times where they were coming down the street, and like right when they were approaching us, they did the fan thing,
Yeah.
and like I was like, "Whoa!" Like, because you saw them all in unison with like the little hand fan, like
Yeah.
and they popped them all out at the same time, and just seeing the group of 40 or 50 of them, whatever,
Mhm.
popping them all at the same time in unison. It, I liked it.
I love
It was beautiful.
Beyonce made that concert announcement, and it looked like half the city tagged
Pointed,
them.
yeah, tagged them and said, "Put them on stage. Put them on stage." And that's totally true, man. Beyonce, if you do not put them beautiful ladies up on the stage with you, when you're doing the single ladies dance or one of them, I mean,
Yeah, I'm
you're
not.
doing a disservice to yourself.
Yeah, and forever from now on, I will not allow all the single ladies get stuck in my head on repeat
Yeah.
if you don't put them on stage.
So we mentioned the Rue La La earlier. Got one of their beautiful pot stirring spoons here. And I'll take close up pictures of all these and post them on our Facebook and Instagram. My Carlton shoe with the fat guy with the towel on him.
That's a character though. I can't figure out who that is. That's one of my dad's buddies draws all those.
Let's see. Trying to think of some of the other ones that personalized throws that I caught.
Yeah, I got a couple of sunglasses this year. I got a really nice Morpheus sleep mask. Got a bunch of socks.
Oh, I know one of the other throws that I got. I got a message in a bottle.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, from the beautiful Sirens.
You also got a whole bag of doubloons.
I did. I did catch a bag of doubloons. Don't get me on the doubloons yet.
Purple, green, gold ones. Very nice.
But speaking of doubloons, I will mention it. I do have a slight complaint about doubloons this year.
Yeah.
It seems like this year there was a couple of crews. Ours may be one of those crews that went a little bit out of hand with doubloons this year. The fact that our crew had 33 throw doubloons on its own.
Mm-hmm.
Wow,
Yeah, that might be it. Hey, you know what?
Yeah.
As a doubloon collector, I kind of love it. It's a challenge to get it, but at the same time, I kind of wish they'd just sell a set.
Yeah.
Just sell me a set, because you're always going to end up one that's got road rash on it, or missing one that's going to drive you crazy. I don't know.
Yeah, there was a couple of crews that I felt like went a little bit overboard with.
Well, I mean, Toth always goes overboard.
Yeah, Toth, King Arthur.
King Arthur has been going overboard for quite a while. Pygmalion goes a bit overboard.
Yeah.
But we typically get them.
The chase is fun, but it's just exhausting to you know what I mean.
There's always one. There's one left over that somehow nobody got this one.
But I think that the problem that you run into is seeing the disappointment on different doubloon collectors' faces at the swaps when they don't have the complete set of a parade. And I mean, let's face it, if you're throwing doubloons, you have to have doubloon collectors in mind. You know, I mean, if you're not, then I almost think that you're throwing doubloons for the wrong reason. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't really see a lot of doubloons staying on the ground anymore. But I kind of think most of them end up in the bottom of some bag, and nobody's ever going to look at it again. You know?
Yeah.
And the collectors want them, so hook it up. You know.
Yeah. I
mean,
know that.
we always make a little set and throw them,
Yeah.
purposely to collectors. Well, plus we know most of them by now, so.
But I know a lot of the crew, a lot of the doubloon guys who are, I guess miffed that, some of these sets that for years and years it feels like they've had the full collection.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't able to get them all this year just because of,
Yeah.
Either the quantities being thrown or the way they were being thrown.
There's a lot of the single member ones really become difficult.
Yeah.
Especially if somebody has multiple colors. Like I know several parades that have horse riders that might have 3 or 4, and they're
Right.
the only person that has it.
Yeah.
So I mean, you can't expect them to give you a whole set, I guess. But those you're going to be missing.
Right.
So, it is what it is. It's fun to try to get them all. But as a lazy doubloon collector, I wish I would just sell a set.
Yeah. Well, like you said, it's
I'm going to
while
try to get them.
I'd still try and collect them at the parade itself, but to have that untainted set to where that it doesn't have all of the crew, all of the doubloons in that set
Mm-hmm.
don't have road rash, don't have miscolors on it, don't have bends and scratches or whatever on them.
You have to pull them out of the mud water or something or
Yeah.
whatever. I mean, we've bought a few sets in the past, and we're still going to the parade and try to get them anyway.
Right.
So,
Yeah. I mean,
I don't know. I don't know. I could see why some of the captains are reluctant to do that, but just do it after the parade.
yeah.
You're not going to not go to your parade.
Right. Yeah. We're still going to go to your parade, and we're still going to try and collect all of the doubloons at your parade.
Yeah, I'm missing quite a few this year, and might get a couple more of them, but I ended up with a lot of unusuals that I didn't even know existed. They were just individual riders, and there's a lot of those now.
Yeah.
Where between we've done our own chips and
Right.
things like
Yeah.
that.
The poker chips, the individual woods from Druids is a perfect example. Druids and Toth had a bunch of.
The Druids had 16 woods on one float.
Yeah.
16 different.
And I know Toth usually has 3 or 4 on the same float.
Yeah, that and well, what you're saying, I'm a little guilty of myself this year with my dad's chip.
Yeah, you created a chase with making only 30 of the. So, the past few years, Kirk's dad's birthday is usually right in the heart of Mardi Gras.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if I remember this year, it was the day of his parade or the day before his parade.
It's March 1st.
Yeah.
So, but that's just my general gift to him now is his own set of poker chips that only he has,
Yeah. Well, you made him a set of 3 that had, it was a purple, green, and gold that had money bars on it.
Yeah, it's like gold bars. So the theme was all things golden. And really it was a nod to ISIS. That was their 50th anniversary. So Wayne's daughter is the captain of ISIS. And so she got to help design the parade this year. So that was the theme was all things golden.
Yeah.
So his chip was a stack of gold bars. It was a purple, green, and gold set.
Yeah. Well, I guess with the bulk that you ordered, the guy that you ordered through was like, here's 30 doubloons that you can do whatever you want with, right?
No, so I ordered 300, and as a joke, I made 30 of them the Golden Girls.
Yeah.
Because I thought my dad was just gonna be like, "Oh, you idiot," and not throw them. So I was making it as a joke. Well, lo and behold, all the doubloon collectors want one. They're like, "Oh, I've got to have one of those." I'm like, "Only made 30, and I think my sister stole 10 of them."
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I remember you got him
like,
in.
what?
You got him in, and you called me, and you were like, "Damn it, my sister stole 10 of the Golden Girls doubloons." I was like, "What do you mean?" And he's like, "She's giving them out to all the ladies that work with her." And you were like,
I kind
"Oh,
of should have known
okay."
better too, because
But
there are quite a few lady collectors, and they were all like, "Hey, where's mine?" I'm like, oh,
yeah,
"I'm sorry, I don't have any more." They're like, "You don't have any more?" I'm like, "No, literally, I had like 10 of them to give away."
and I know at one point you walked into one of the swaps, and you said there was like 3 guys who like you've traded regularly with at the
Yeah,
swaps, and they're like, "Come on,
yeah,
cough them up,
get
cough
'em up.
them up." You're like, "All right, here you go, guys."
Well, 2 of them I'd saved them for because I knew those guys were
Yeah,
they're diehards and they literally have full collections. So like I was gonna have to give them those ones. So I'd save those. I'd save 2, uh, just because I knew that was gonna be somebody I forgot. But of course, there was still people I forgot. I mean, I didn't get Cool Mama one, which I'm a little kind of like, oh,
yeah.
I wanted to get her one, but I kind of already promised them out from the number I had. I just wasn't able to, which was
Check your plug.
I'm on.
No, I'm hearing. Are you hearing a hiss? It might be my headphones.
Mm-mm.
Okay,
Switch channel.
let's see. Oh, much. Whoa.
Now I'm out. All right.
All right, much better.
Yep.
Yeah, I was getting like a sizzle in one of the ears, so I guess the channel on that.
I think it's
headphone
just a
thing
little
is-
faded. Just need to be
Yeah.
exercised a little bit. But
Um,
yeah, the balloon collecting is fun. I kind of wish it got back a little bit more of the heyday it used to be. I mean, we're a small group of collectors, probably, I don't know, a couple of hundred, a couple 300, collectors. Where back in the 70s and 80s, everybody's grandmother had a
had a set,
had
yeah,
a set, and it was a big to do. There used to be something like 20 something doubloon stores in New Orleans.
yeah,
So
yeah. I've had several people who have come to me and said, "Hey, I've got this binder of doubloons from my grandma, that, are just sitting in a box that, it's like I loved my grandma, but I don't need her old doubloons."
yeah, I can't kind of hate to be the bearer of bad news a lot of times. It's like, yeah, everybody's grandmother had that doubloon collection because everybody kind of thinks they're valuable, and really, typically we'll spend more on pages and flips, like supplies than the doubloons themselves.
Yeah,
Because I mean, we just kind of trade them. If I got one, he didn't get one, we'll swap them out or give him one or whatever. So, but it's a fun group of guys. It's a little way to extend Mardi Gras a couple more weeks, I guess.
Yeah.
So I had fun with it.
Well, the other thing that's real cool with the balloon club is, that you get to talk to different people who rode in different parades and ask them and be like, "Hey, how was your ride?" And they'll be like, "Oh, dude, it was amazing."
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the times, we know what float those people were on, so it's like, oh, we'll be able to comment and say, "Oh, that, your float was very beautiful this year," and y'all's costumes made us laugh, so on and so forth,
I would say the doubloon club has let me find members of crews that you're not supposed to know are in members of crews. I won't call them out or anything like that, but like, it's fun to kind of hear the backstory of that organization a little bit. Like, yeah, how's your ride? How'd you get in the club? And yeah, I can't really say. They're not,
yeah,
but yeah, it's fun because I mean, I wouldn't call myself a Mardi Gras historian. You kind of are, I just go out for the fun of it, but it's always fun to hear that kind of story.
yeah. I mean, by no means am I, as knowledgeable as people like Errol Laborde and
Yeah.
Arthur Hardy, who have literally spent decades studying Mardi Gras.
But you do as well, though.
I mean, we're doing some studying on it, and we're learning, the history of individual crews. But I know that they know, they're deep enough into the history to where it's like, think of it in the respect of, we know who was president during such and such years. A historian can tell you, the representatives and congressmen of that particular term.
Oh, I mean,
and
there's a reason those guys wrote the book and we read them.
Right, right. So, I mean, several other parades that were real pretty that we had a good time with. Let's see, seeing the rolling Elvi every time on the route was a kick in the butt. Obviously the Stompers.
Muffaladas.
The Muffaladas. Yeah.
Man, it feels weird.
Lucha Crew we saw once or twice.
Yeah.
This year, and always fun to see them, and it makes me laugh when I see them come past.
I gotta tell you, there's I don't know if there's a crew that during the course of the parade itself has more fun than they do.
Oh yeah,
You know what I mean? Because they're all having fun. Don't get me wrong, but like those dudes are straight up partying.
Yeah, it's literally a 7-mile walking party. Let's see. Muses was, really nailed it with the
storybook.
The storybook
theme. I
themes.
forgot
Yeah.
the word exactly. Through the eyes of a child, something along those lines. But it was, So I got a sneak preview of that from the Muses.
Getting to see their bulletin ahead of time.
Well, she had shown it to all the renderings on her computer.
Ah.
But so I might have been one of the first to know their theme this year. But yeah, I knew it was going to be a fun parade. Unfortunately, we got wet that day. But
about halfway into their parade.
But we stayed. We stuck it through. I still didn't get my shoe out the parade, but
next year
I'm walking with that limp until I get it.
Yeah.
1 foot taller than the other.
We had mentioned Iris and Isis. Both of them were, spectacular parades.
Iris celebrated, like I said, their 50th anniversary, and they've really put out a nice parade. We were at the very tail end, and but it was still nice and big. The crowd where we were was, fairly empty at that point, but it was kind of I think we might have been past the actual end,
Symphony was real pretty. That was the one that rolled right behind us.
Yep, I believe you.
Yeah. I
might have been a little toasted.
Yeah. They've got like the the rope lighting and stuff on all their costumes, and they're really spectacular. And they've got a whole bunch of those bands, those New Orleans bands that they bring in. To Metairie, which is
similar to like
to what
Athena did.
Yeah.
I'd spotted some of their, I guess, captains, what have you. I had a few of the balls I'd gone to, and they were all always decked out in their symphony, kind of, I guess, like a tuxedo. It wasn't like a parade costume, but
excuse me, just a second.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. And
but so I gone to meet someone, and then I come back, and by the time I had gotten there, I didn't see a lot of symphony, but I do remember seeing them at like I said, I went to 5 balls this year, so I saw them at a couple of them, and I like the way they show up and kind of drove together, and with it was a tuxedo, but like had symphony stuff on. It wasn't. I don't know. It was cool. It wasn't like a parade costume, but yeah, it had
Yeah, but their
a
tuxes were
crew.
their tuxes were Mardi Gras up, shall we say?
Yeah, yeah. I don't know quite how to describe it,
Yeah.
but
Let's see. Um, Going through the list here of parades. Um, T-Rex.
T-Rex. Jesus, what was with that crowd? Good Lord.
Yeah,
I've never
dude, it was
seen a
crazy
crowd that
packed.
big for a
A
parade that
shoebox
small.
parade. Yeah,
I mean, it was where we were 5, 6 people deep,
yeah,
and you can't see it past a 3-year-old in the front row. So it's kind
right.
of, but it's a fun event. I think more than the parade really, and their bands kind of keep it all going anyway. But it's hard to see those little floats, a couple people back in the crowd.
Yeah,
But the floats are really cool, and they put a lot of work into those things, and it's a much larger parade than you can really picture, given that it is a shoebox parade.
yeah.
But but yeah, the band's a little, I don't know, 5, 7 piece brass bands they bring with them and all that. Always a lot of fun. And yeah, the crowd was really in good spirits this year.
Yeah. Crew de Vue. We managed to catch Crew de Vue at the very end of the parade route.
Mm.
I mean,
It's Crew de Vue.
yeah,
You
it's
know
Crew de
what to
Vue.
expect of them.
I would say, in simplest terms, they really stuck it to the mayor, shall we say? Like there was several of their floats were depicting things related to the the flight stuff that was going on,
Yeah, or
the
personal
security
assistant.
affair or whatever. There was quite a few of those floats that were.
But you can't give those satire
Yeah.
parades that kind of ammunition. I mean, I'm not going to judge or whatever, but it's just too funny. You have to poke at it.
Yeah.
I don't know how serious any of them really are about it, but it's kind of fun to watch, especially the ones where some of the other larger satire parades that go past her and toast her.
Yeah.
like God, I almost feel a little embarrassed on the float, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
That's what those guys do, and so
Um,
I hope all the mayors, because they do it to everybody, can just kind of laugh at it,
yeah. Nefertiti. I mean, we've always had a good time at their parade. Something was kicked up this year with that parade.
Yeah,
I couldn't put my finger on it. I mean, like we had talked about when we interviewed with them, their costumes are always so beautiful. That it reminds me of like the due to lack of better words, the African dancers from Coming to America.
yeah,
With all like the beautiful
the large
flower. Yeah,
feathers
like that almost that carnival look.
yeah, you're right. More of a Brazilian sort of look.
Yeah. But yeah, they were, something, I don't know what it was, but
Well, the parade's grown a little bit,
yeah, it's grown. They had a lot of great.
What was this? The third or fourth roll, something
I
like that.
think third year.
And yeah, and like we said, the first time it was a tiny parade, but their costume was gorgeous. They had a good assortment of throws, this and that. The following year, last year we saw it basically in the same spot.
Yeah.
And we could tell it had grown up a little bit. And this year they had more groups in between, I think might have been, and more bands. Because like the first year, I remember they only had a couple of bands. Something had happened that day, and they had lost some bands. But yeah, it's quickly becoming a larger parade, and it's a nice parade. They have a lot of good throws, so it's bringing people out in that neighborhood.
Yeah,
that really, it's going back to how it used to be when they had parades there all the time, and So I don't know, a lot of fun. They put on a good parade.
Yeah.
And where we were, it was a little kind of thin, which is fine by me because we got to see our friends
Right.
and
Yeah.
got some love from them. But when we were leaving, when we turned that corner, it seemed like a real nice crowd out there.
It seemed like literally like our block and just on our side was the only place where it wasn't packed, because literally as we left, like the very next block, it was like 4 and 5 people deep.
Yeah, it was weird. Everybody kind of treated that as the lineup, right? I don't know why, because they were throwing well and the bands are playing, and I don't know. It was unusual.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's because that's, I don't know, just a neighborhood where the people walked out of their houses and watched it rather than drove and parked into a, I don't know, shopping center parking lot or something and just stayed right there. I'm not sure of the reasoning, but yeah, I was like, man, where's the crowd? This is a nice parade. And then we left and I saw that. I was like, oh, there's the crowd.
Yeah.
And
Let's
then
see.
I love the guy across the street. Who are you guys?
Oh
Why
yeah.
y'all getting all the good stuff?
Yeah, he looked at us because we had we had just gotten the record from the Bajorettes.
He's like, I'm
the
coming
the
over
captain.
here. I'm hanging out with y'all. That dude was funny.
Let's see. Some other parades. Mars.
Yeah, Mars.
That was the first. For their first run. That was a beautiful parade.
It was they gave him that parade permit on, what was it, Memorial Day or Veterans Day, something like that.
Yeah.
And sort of as a nod, obviously, to their crew members are all service members or something like that, public, whatever you want to call it. And and they threw lots of cool stuff. I wear my hat to mow my lawn. It's like a military hat, which was kind of funny watching all the little kids walking around those military hats. And yeah, that's a cool parade. And so I'm glad they are running on their own, and it's a different feel than every other parade. And honestly is kind of more of a Metairie feel, honestly.
Yeah.
Just because it's so wildly different than every other New Orleans parade, but it still has a nice feel. It's a good crowds, lots of throws.
Yeah.
Cool parade. I hope this isn't a short-term thing.
Yeah. Let's see. Pontchartrain, Choctaw, Ferret, and Themis.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they were all pretty parades, but I'll admit that we didn't get to enjoy them as much because it started raining pretty much right at the beginning of Pontchartrain. And it rained.
That was that day that was cold.
And it was cold,
Oh my
cold.
Yeah. I mean, I've always loved Choctaw. That's always been one of my favorites. Going back to Woodnow on the West Bank or wherever they were. I was a
West
kid,
Bank.
But I've always liked that parade. But yeah, all of those are real nice parades. And as miserable of a day as it was still a nice crowd out there.
Yeah.
Had a good time.
Let's see. That night we got to see Spartan Society in Phoenix.
Mm-hmm.
Again, it was just starting to break from the rain, but I mean, both of the parade overall was very beautiful.
Yeah, I like the way that they mix it in rather than have Phoenix all in one kind of group. They're kind of every other float or something like that. Their doubloons this year who had both Phoenix and Sparta on them, so they're really, brother and sister parades. I think really it's kind of sister and sister parade, but still. But you know what I mean? Just a larger, but I like the way, I like that partnership there. It's really made for a better parade for both of them.
Oh, at Sparta, I did get a riding crop.
Did you now?
Yeah.
Let's see it.
Well, the problem is that I caught it and I had it sitting on my chair, literally. And I got up because someone waved me to give me a doubloon.
Mm-hmm.
And when I walked back over by my chair, the crop was gone.
Sorry to poke the bear there. I knew you were like upset by that
Yeah,
one.
I was pissed. I mean,
It was a cool crowd though. It was from Jason, huh?
yeah.
Uh,
So after Sparta and Phoenix, we ran to Metairie and we caught Mad Hatters
yeah,
near the end.
yeah, kind of the very end. It's a fun parade, you know. It's like I kind of always was had it in my head that I was going to be a Disney parade, but it isn't. You know, I think they do it well when they have bands on, lots of floats.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's hard for us to kind of get a real read on it the way we saw it this year, way at the very end. But yeah, the previous year when we saw it kind of mid ride, it was a real fun parade. And
Yeah.
they threw well. I love all the hats like that line the parade goers. By the time they pass, everybody's in a funny looking hat.
Yeah. After Mad Hatters, we went back downtown to catch Pygmalion and Harmonia.
Mm-hmm.
You know, as always, Pygmalion's floats is, you know, they're spectacular. You know.
They really are.
You know.
I like that French feel to it. You know.
Yeah, that grandiose to where,
Art
you know,
Nouveau looking.
Yeah, to where the shall we say the headpiece thing on the float. A lot of times, it almost feels like it's not a float with a headpiece, you know, with a head prop on it. It's a statue with riders on it.
Yeah.
You know, so really tremendous, beautiful floats.
And it had stopped raining and warmed up a little bit, but still cold. But yeah,
Yeah.
it was much more tolerable by that point.
Yeah.
Thank God, because man, I was miserable earlier.
Let's see. The following day, we went to Femme Fatale, which really stuck out to me as a pretty parade.
I've never seen more big bands in any single parade than in that parade.
Yeah.
And it felt like they had every band in the city.
Yeah. And, you know, again, that was one of those days where, you know, the music hit me, you know? And, you know, like I said, if during their whole parade you weren't tapping your toe or, you know, dancing or bobbing your head or, you know, swinging to the music, whatever, you wasn't at the parade. Carrollton is always, I mean, they're always a pretty parade, you know. They throw a lot of fun throws. You know, with the boot, you know, all the
Yeah, get the balloons. They have the platters.
Yeah, they have
a bunch
platters
of parades
this
are
year.
doing these. I know Ferret does them. A few of them do them, but the big platters, crawfish platters, pretty cool. So I have several of these. So if anybody's having a crawfish boil, I'll bring my own platter.
that's right.
Yep. Just let us know where it is.
Yeah. King Arthur, you know, I mean, they're always a fun parade. You know, I was lucky to catch a full set, or for the most part, a full set of their doubloons.
Yeah, missing one of the sets.
You know, but I actually caught the shields that everyone was looking for at the doubloon swaps.
Yeah, I think you're it.
And I caught a bunch of really cool throws from them. Like I caught a dog leash. I caught a couple of dog leashes that have the crew on it. You know,
Which was good because your dog got out. Was it that night or the night before?
the night before. Yeah.
After that long day, we went on a dog hunt.
Yeah. Let's see. I caught a wallet. You know, every year they throw the banks. They've been throwing like those kind of hard plastic banks.
Oh yeah, yeah.
They had a lunchbox this year.
Oh yeah, I got one. Well, we got one.
Yeah.
You know, I caught so many doubloons that it's full of King Arthur doubloons.
Yeah. Oh, I believe it. I believe it. let's see. That day, we did not hit anything else. I know that Devin went to Barkus this year.
Yeah.
He made it out to Bar, and he said he caught a doubloon at Barkus.
Yeah, what is that?
I don't know. I don't know how he caught a doubloon at Barkus.
Nope,
But he said that, he and his lady had a wonderful time out there. He showed me a couple of the pictures that he had from it. But, he was like, I wasn't taking a ton of pictures just because I was enjoying it for myself, you know?
Like, I'll take a lot of pictures of, just kind of one of each flip. That's,
Yeah.
I'm trying to enjoy it as well,
Let's see, Culinary Queens. We went out to the Culinary Queens and, we had a blast out there. I was told that Amanda was looking for us, that she had the steak and lobster for us. But she was on the opposite side of the float from us.
Yeah, those ladies are so much fun.
Yeah.
I love that the neighborhood is really responding and enjoying that parade like they should.
Yeah, that's an amazing parade, and I wish them nothing but successes. They've, we got to go to their picnic, earlier in the year, and I got to try, some of their foods and their drinks and stuff like that. Good God, amazing, amazing.
I have to have some out lemonade because no less than 3 people have told me best lemonade I've ever had.
Yeah,
in my
dude.
life. I'm like,
Amanda's lemonade is amazing, amazing.
what did she put in there?
Love. She
Oh.
puts love in that that lemonade. I don't know how she does it, but she is a very special woman because, holy God, that stuff is wonderful. Yeah. Oh, sweet lemon.
Oh, sweet lemon.
Let's see. We went to Druids. Druids is always a fun parade. They always have I would say a satirical theme. They're a very lighthearted crew.
Yeah, it's not a huge, spectacular parade by any means, but they're having fun. Their throws are a lot of fun. They're a challenge for doubloon collectors. It's a fun parade to go to.
Yeah. We already talked about the parade that rolled after it. That while they had pretty looking floats, I wish that more people would have been on the floats. But I understand the circumstances surrounding it.
It's just politics aside, I hate to see a nice parade fall apart. It just, as a parade goer, that's what I care about. Is the parade. I don't care about the rest of it.
Right. Let's see. The following day, Babylon, which we've said, knocked us out the park there.
Yeah, I thought they just rolled a really, absolutely beautiful parade. They knocked it out of the park.
Chaos,
They're subtle.
Yeah, subtle.
Subtle, that's the word.
Yeah.
They so fit that name. They wear it with a badge of honor.
Yeah.
That was one of the ones I'm talking about that they have to roll by the mayor, and I hope hope she can laugh it off. I really do.
Yeah. And then Muses following them. Muses really knocked it out of the park. That we loved that theme, and the variety of throws that they had. There was several different things that I recall catching at that parade that weren't just like beads. You know what I mean? Like,
well, dude, I was absolutely soaking wet.
Yeah, you were drenched.
And all of them started throwing me towels. I'm like, how'd y'all know?
Yeah, the towels and the
hats.
The hats, like the beanie caps.
Yeah, and that was a cold night. It was like they planned cold. They were like, yeah, send in the cold. We got hats.
Let's see. Friday, I kind of got Thursday during the day, we went and interviewed with Mr. Clark
Yeah, from Bacchus. Yeah.
from Bacchus, and I mean, he's always a great chat to hear, the thoughts of a man who's, literally 48 hours, 50 hours from from putting a parade of
Oh,
2 to 3,000 people on.
it was a half hour before he goes picks up the king.
Right,
You know
yeah.
what I mean? Like he
He was leaving.
basically-
Yeah,
he's very generous with his time with us, and we appreciate it greatly. And but basically, he does our interview and then leaves and goes picks up the king and his wife.
yeah.
And that's when his kind of
Yeah,
weekend
and then when he starts whining and dining
Yeah.
the king and showing the king the time of their life, and then that next morning he brings the king over to Children's Hospital where the king gets crowned with a crown made by by one of the kids over there, and he gets time to visit with everybody. And when he rolled, I'll say that when Adam rolled past us on the parade, it looked like he was having a blast. Like literally 5 feet in front of us, he reached into the bucket full of the doubloons that he was throwing, and he just launched these doubloons, and it looked like he threw 1,000,000 doubloons right at that moment.
I don't know how many of those balloons they made, but it probably didn't last them because, man, so for Bacchus, I had by that time put on a tux inside the van and walked to the beginning.
Yeah.
I went and met a couple of friends at the lineup, and then I saw maybe, I don't know, the first 15 floats before I took off and went to the spectacular. I don't think that's the name of it. Anyway. And,
Yeah, that's it.
but
Spectacular.
man, when he had passed by us, and I'm a big Bacchus doubloon collector, so when he started throwing doubloons, I'm like,
Yeah.
but they were page doubloons, and but they had announced them late, so his doubloons weren't ready at the time.
Yeah.
So there's a bunch of people waiting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nervously.
Anxiously waiting because, I mean, let's face it. Besides the Rex doubloon,
Yeah,
the Bacchus King set is probably the
probably
second
the
most
collected.
sought after collected doubloon set out of all of them. Let's see. To bounce back a little bit on Friday, so we went to Celine out in Slidell, and we had a blast with them. As we said, we got hubcapped. We caught a bunch of.
That's a nice. It was honestly bigger than I thought it was going to be. I mean, it really was, and they had told us the numbers and all that. I knew they had a lot of members that had been with them for a long time, but I don't know. I didn't have that scale of a parade in my head when we saw it.
Yeah,
it was real nice.
Yeah, it was a fun one. Let's see, and then we made it back out here to see Data and Morpheus, and I mean, both of them are always, Data with their satire,
Yeah, Data is yeah, I don't ever put any real lists together, but they're in my top 10.
Yeah.
I just love that parade. They're a fun group. The floats are hilarious, really.
Yeah. Let's see. And then Morpheus, it was great seeing Captain John riding with him, and getting to see, they had some real pretty floats.
Yeah.
And they've got some cool throws that they always throw too.
That's a well done parade, and that's one of the parades that everybody on the floats just looks like they're just having a blast. They're just going to town. It's the right time of the year where everybody's just kind of getting in. The crowd's just starting to assemble. You know what I mean? Where it's on now. That's kind of when you start feeling it that day.
Yeah.
But that's a fun parade, and it's
Well, seeing seeing the pride that the captain has in his crew and his crew members, speaks volumes for the crew. And then to see and hear the sheer number of decorated throws that his members decorate throughout the year to prepare for the parade speaks volumes. You know, I mean,
yeah, they were saying some people had hundreds of those masks, and those things take a while. The one that I got this year was real nice.
Yeah, it's not just like a little bit of duct tape and
No, I mean
it's every bit
as detailed as that music shoe right
right,
there.
right. Yeah, and you know, if you look at their their mass tracker webpage, there's hundreds of masks that you see that people made throughout the year. And they're real pretty. They're real pretty.
Because we tend to get a lot of the signature throws, just because we know people in them. That is a parade where almost everybody will get a signature throw, which is great. I mean, I don't think there's any other parade that so many people will walk away with one.
Right. Let's see. Saturday, Iris and Tux. You know, I mean, what can you say that hadn't been said about both of those parades?
Holy.
You know,
they're both huge parades. The beautiful in their own right. They're, I mean, you couldn't have been a more yin and yang sort of day.
Yeah.
As far as parades go, but I mean, they're both a lot of fun.
Yeah, and unfortunately, just with the sheer time that those two parades took, we weren't able to try and make it to see a little bit of Endymion or Drew. You know, Drew is another one of them parades that we really got to go see. You know, I mean,
it's I think we planned on trying to hit those. The breakdowns kind of, I think there was a lot of people for our loop this year where I think we lost a couple hours in there.
Yeah,
but.
And and then to find out that my dear sweet friend Melissa was selected to be queen of Drew. I mean,
you're a terrible friend.
That's such a fun crew. You know, and I see every week for the past since Mardi Gras. They're holding cook-offs.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, they're doing fish fries on, the Fridays, I think at BJ's Lounge.
Oh, okay.
Which I guess is like their second home now, you know?
Oh, man, that reminds me, I was supposed to go to my dad's fish fry today. I forgot all about it.
Oops.
He does it every Friday. That's Columbus one. But,
Sunday, Bacchus Sunday, Toast Sunday, Temple Day. Okeanos, Mid-City, Toth, Bacchus. They were, that 4-pack of parades is always, you get to see so much. And it's almost like a trek through time, that you see 4 completely different parades in that day.
Yeah, Toth, I feel like it's bigger and bigger every year.
Yeah.
It was a really nice parade this year. And I don't know if they had redone a lot of their floats, brought new ones in, something like that, but it felt larger than normal.
Yeah. And, well, I think that was also so special because it was their 75th anniversary.
That's right.
Their captain, their king this year was, has been a long-time officer with the crew, and, he was really excited to be captain, or be king, and, he had a great time up there.
Queen was...
the queen was our friend Mikey's sister, I believe.
Yeah, one of my seat partners, his sister. Yes.
Yeah.
I didn't know her. I yelled her name, and she looked at me like I was nuts. I took a picture and sent it to Mikey.
And Mikey rides like he's like in the middle of the parade, And every year when he comes past us, like, I'll always forget what float number it is, and then I just see like this wall of throws coming at us, and I'm like, "There's Mikey! It's
Found
Mikey!"
him.
Let's see. After all of those parades, I made it to one more parade that night.
What?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you came to.
I went to Crew of Atlas.
That's amazing.
Yeah. I had a good time at Atlas. I'll say I was
So
exhausted.
how was it with the return? I haven't seen it since.
I mean, the flow. Where I caught it, it was way at the end. So a lot of the riders, I think that their energy was worn out. You know what I mean? Just
Yeah. I mean,
after riding for 4 hours, you're like, let me just get rid of these throws. I want to get off of this.
that was at one point. That was a real cool parade.
Yeah.
With the floats were really.
But yeah, they had some pretty
bears,
parades or pretty floats up there. We had I had a fun time at it.
Yeah, I've been curious about that. Like there's so much I don't know about them because I remember the other parade, their old parade, fairly well.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the same people, different group altogether. They just came back. I don't know. We got to talk to them because I'd love to hear that history.
Yeah. Let's see. Mardi Gras. There was Proteus, Orpheus, and Centurions,
Yeah.
and we made it to all three.
Yeah. It's,
Proteus and Orpheus. I mean,
Proteus was another one similar to Babylon that, that one's been a nice parade, but they really put on a beautiful parade. And,
yeah.
And the way they light everything is just spectacular.
Yeah, and Orpheus was a real pretty parade.
Mm-hmm.
The one complaint that I do have with Orpheus is at some point, like 3/4 of the way to the end, they had, and I mean, don't get me wrong, the group that I'm referring to, it's cool to see the trikes, the trike bike or trike car things.
Yeah, lit up.
Yeah, I mean, they're all
side by sides or whatever.
lit up. They've got nice sound systems on them. That they've got beautiful paint jobs, and some of the owners will deck them out with flags and Mardi Gras lights.
Each one of them's a party.
Yeah,
they're great in
but
small doses.
They had like 75 of them back to back, and like
they were as far as I could see in either direction. And some of it was we were trying to get out here to.
Yeah, we were trying to make it out here to be able to see Centurions.
So we're like, come on, what's going on with this? But yeah, it went on for a while. They're cool as hell. But wow, that was a lot of them.
Yeah. It just felt like it was an awkward break into that they could have had them split up a little bit more or something.
It was odd though too, because they typically lead a parade, and
and then
like stuck in a pack in the way back.
Right? Yeah, they were like behind like float 25 or something like that.
It was unusual.
Let's see.
But St. Jeremy's was beautiful. I don't know if they were the same, but a very similar look to Pygmalion's floats.
They use the same designers.
Okay.
And I thought that move to Mardi Gras was great for them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I thought that they put on a beautiful parade. They had some great groups marching with them.
They debuted their new float that was
they debuted the handicap float,
accessible float. So yeah, that was pretty cool to see. And I'm those guys are one of our first interviews. So just rooting for them. Just as a natural, because I know they were kind of young when they took it over, and had wouldn't say regrow a parade, but they're putting it how they would like it now. They're making it their parade, so
right.
Yeah, it's good to see them growing like that.
And then last but not least, Mardi Gras Day. Mm-hmm. you traveled out to town and were able to see Rex.
Yeah, Rex. You know, uh, they call it the King of Mardi Gras. It's there's a perfectly real reason why they're considered, the gold standard. And they really did put out a beautiful parade with their theme with the horses, the Italian horse race, whatever that is.
Yeah.
Don't ask me to pronounce it, but they brought in those flag throwers, and
Oh, those dudes were awesome,
man,
man.
that was cool. They just
Yeah,
put on a spectacular.
Yeah, we got to
parade.
see them marching in a couple
Orpheus.
parades. It was either
I remember
Orpheus or
Orpheus.
Proteus.
I saw him. Oh, yeah, maybe.
I think it was
that
Proteus.
night.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd seen him again in that in Rex, and they bring in just honestly the best bands, and their throws are all of them are good.
Yeah.
Because I don't bring home anything from parades. I bring home like the balloons and maybe a hand decorated throw that I call because obviously I'm gonna bring that home. But that's it. I don't really want anything from like Rex. I bring home everything.
Yeah, the medallion
Yeah,
beads, the doubloons, the special cups, those metal cups that they started throwing, last year, year before?
A couple years ago, yeah. But yeah, it was a beautiful parade. And,
and then Argus out here, Argus put on a hell of a parade. My Lions rode in the parade, which was really exciting for me. For those that don't know, I'm a member of the Lions Club, LIONS, not the LYONS one, not the marching group. But they, the Lions Club had a float that was, I want to say, the first, the first,
two or three
theme float, that they had, and we had the international president from Lions and his wife that were in. There was several guests from, from Lions International that rode, and there was a bunch of Lions from this area and all of Louisiana that rode.
Well, you didn't get out on Veterans that day, did you? Yeah, you stayed kind of.
No, I stayed. Yeah, I stayed close to here.
So I can tell you, when I was coming back from Rex, coming over here, the crowds on Veterans were like behind the trees on the other side.
Really?
I'm telling you, like I'd never seen like if there was a canal there, like 20 rows of people would have been in the canal.
Wow.
Like I couldn't believe how big those crowds were. Of course, everybody at that point was a little spread out,
Yeah.
waiting for the parade to start. But I was like, good Lord, I'd never seen that many people out. And it was a nice day.
Yeah.
So I think everybody was ready for it. And what did they do? They pushed it back to noon?
Well, both Rex and Argus, they traditionally start at, like 10 o'clock or 10:30.
Mm-hmm.
And they both started at, Rex started at 10:30. They usually start at 10. And Argus usually starts at 10, and they started at noon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so they didn't get down here until it was like 2:30.
Yeah, because I mean, honestly, by the time I get here, I hate to say that I'm done with Mardi Gras, but I've had about enough of it. I've had my fun, and I'm just worn out by that point.
Yeah.
And Argus is a fun parade to see, so I want to see it. But yeah, I got here and kind of waited for it. I'm like, oh, where's this parade? Where is this parade?
Come on,
Bring
parade.
the parade already. But I sat down and got a little second wind and was probably able to enjoy it more than I would have had it just rolled by immediately. So
Right.
Yeah, it was fun. But I'd seen a lot of people were like, no, don't do that again. And so
a lot of people didn't like the fact that they started so late.
Yeah, but I think it just, like this coming weekend, everybody's coming to my house. They know what time to show up. You know what I mean? So, like, I don't know. For all the families that have a traditional spot, it probably throws a little wrench in it when parades change their time. But I don't know. For me, it kind of worked out well. I got a little break in there. And,
Yeah.
you know.
Let's see. I got to see both of the truck parades out here. Elks Jefferson and Crew Jefferson. And they were both real pretty. I remember seeing. I'd be lying if I said that I could name off a couple of the themes off of the floats,
Yeah,
but like,
they're all different. Yeah.
I mean, it's such a variety, and I remember that the first, like dozen of them, which is usually the ones that placed in the float contest,
Yeah.
were really spectacular. And
Yeah.
I remember seeing even, I recall that even, going a little bit further into the parade, I was like, man, these are still real pretty of truck floats. That I was like, when did they, how many did they place this year? And it was still just floats trucking along.
Yeah. I'm glad. When I heard the numbers, I didn't stick around for them. I was just kind of, I was done. Especially, I think Sunday just took it out of me. With the after party and all that with Bacchus, I was just never caught up. So by that time, I had all caught up with me. So I didn't stick around for much of the truck floats. But I was happy to hear that their numbers were back up.
Yeah.
Because last year, I remember it being, I mean, it felt like
last year it
trucks.
felt like 30 of them total.
Yeah, so
between the two, and this
I
year
was a little
it was
concerned about the health of that parade, but it sounds like they're fine.
yeah. This year there was, I think it was like 45 in the first one, and then like maybe 40 in the second one.
I mean, that's strong.
Yeah.
So I did see a handful of the New Orleans trucks that followed Rex. I'm not sure which one that is. So I'll probably stay for the first 10, 15 floats, and it's funny to see the old House of Shock float not being the House of Shock float, but it's still going.
Yeah.
It's similar in style, so it's the same one, but it's not the House of Shock anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a fun parade. I have the one this weekend, and I'll be riding in the one next weekend in the quarter.
Oh yeah.
So that'll be fun. It's still going a little bit.
Yeah.
But
so, yeah, I would say a very successful Mardi Gras 2023. Thank you to all of the crews, the dance teams, the personalities that over the past year we've gotten an opportunity to meet and visit with and learn more about. And
meeting a couple of people on the route to tune in once in a while, so that's always fun. If you ever see us, come say hi, please.
Please.
We like to meet everybody, and we're a small little world, a little community of Mardi Gras people. So,
yeah. Come greet us. So,
but another successful year. This isn't our traditional king cake bucket, but
So, thank you all for listening.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't already, subscribe to us here on YouTube, on all our social medias. Visit us on our website, ParadeRipeTales.com, to where you can see all of our past episodes and upcoming episodes. If you follow us on social medias, we'll constantly give you updates on news that we hear about different groups, and share touching pictures and stories and whatnot that we get from them. So thank you for tuning in. Till the next show, signing out. We will see you on the route.